Hello? Hello, hello. Good morning. Is everyone ready to start? Yes? We are starting a little bit late again to allow everyone time to get in, say hello to everybody. But now we really have to start. So I want to thank everyone again for being here. So please, a big round of applause for everyone who's here again. Together on the weekend to learn from each other. I think this is very, very amazing, very inspiring. I want to thank our new speakers, our new keynotes that are here today. And thanks for the online participants. Rosa is not here at the moment. Gustavo, everything okay in Zoom? Yes? Okay. So we will start today with a keynote panel. We will have Garabet Kazanjan. I have presented him yesterday, but for the new people, he is an assistant professor at the American University of Armenia. He's the coordinator of the OTTERS project, and he will be the host of the first session. So please, Garabet.
I was going to prepare those presentation.
You can while I talk. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here on a early Saturday morning. I know it's not easy. It wasn't easy for me as well. So maybe we start with making sure everybody's awake. Who's from Portugal here today? I want hands. A lot of people. I see. I see also a lot of people not raising hands. Who's from Earth? I still see some people not raising hands, so I have a question for you later on. Okay, who's from a very far place? That's not very far. 1 hour. You guys are all from Portugal, correct? Who's not from Portugal and a far place? Wow. Okay, that's impressive. How long did it take you to get here? 17 hours. We, do we have a winner or somebody wants to bid higher? Okay. Um, Hopefully everybody's a bit more energized and we can start. So we have a very active day, another active day today to continue. Are we doing this?
Hmm?
Okay. Not now. Okay, so
I don't have your presentation.
I'll let you introduce it. Okay. Uh, like I was saying, we have a very active day today to continue yesterday's presentations. And our first speaker today is Laura Gavrilut from 21C Consultancy from the UK. She will talk to us and introduce us the concept of Spring to Sea stewardship campaigns that we pioneered in the Autos campaign. Laura, please. Yes, I can talk for 1 minute about something completely irrelevant. Um, so, I'm guessing everybody here knows what citizen science is. I want to see hands who's involved in a water-related citizen science project. Half of the audience. And the reason why the other half of the audience are not involved in water citizen science is? Will you be involved in a water citizen science project in the coming year? Okay. All right. Should I tell a joke? Water related. Okay. Mm. Well, it's kind of water related. Um, Back 100 years ago or 50 years ago, I don't know. Somebody goes to a village with a thermos bottle. We know that what that is, right?
Hmm?
And his friend asks, what is this bottle? Why is it used for? It says this is an ingenious, magical thing. You put something cold in it, it stays cold for hours. You put something warm in it, it stays warm for hours. So his friend asks him, so what did you put in it? He says, oh, easy. I filled half of it with hot coffee, the other half with cold ice cream. Terrible. All right. Priscilla, I'm out of things to say, I think.
It's being solved. It's already solved.
Estava a abrir, não. Isto é o quê?
Rosa, hopefully you're not live streaming this, otherwise it will go viral as the worst opening of a conference.
Estava a ver aqui. Que eu joguei isto.
Laura, we have it.
No, we don't.
Not here. It's okay. I was, but
So maybe again, loud round of applause to Laura Gavrilut from 21C Consultancy.
Yeah, buongiorno from my side as well. Lovely intro. Thank you to our wonderful host, and thank you to everyone that joined here on Saturday. The others are not here. This means they were having a wild weekend. So, in my presentation, I will tell you a couple of things about Changing Hearts and Minds campaign.
you want to
And what-
talk because with Zoom, if you are talking
Okay.
to the room,
Oh, wow, this is loud. A couple of things about our Changing Hearts and Minds campaign. Okay, so before telling you about our campaign, what would you choose? Would you choose the image that is on the left side of the screen, a clean sea and a happy otter, or a dirty sea and a sad otter? Who would choose the one on the left side? Oh, wow, only? On the left? You want, yes, this is the right answer. I want the same as well. So for a clean sea and a happy otter, and we have our otter mascot there, we need the Otters Project. I know that otters will not solve all your problems, water-related problems, but we did our best to raise awareness. So in dark color, is the authors, the description, I mean, the aim of authors, as it is in the description of action. So authors aims to promote societal transformation for marine and freshwater stewardship through scaling up citizen science. In pink, it is the same thing, but in a very plain and simple and easy to understand language. So we help people take care of oceans, rivers, lakes, and using science together. This might be a super simplistic version, but again, we did our best to raise awareness and to make people understand what are the most pressing water-related issues. So now a couple of things about our campaign. We didn't have any influencers like the one in the image, so we were by ourselves, only the Authors Consortium. So what we did in our campaign, we had 5 steps. So we created 3 co-creation toolkits, we ran co-creation sessions, we analyzed the results, we created postcards, and then we raised awareness. And now we'll take them one by one. So these are our 3 toolkits for Portugal, for Italy, and for Armenia. These were the pilot countries, and the subjects that were chosen were based on a list of projects which we received from EXA. We analyzed the projects, and we noticed, for example, for Portugal, that many of the projects were related to cleaning the beaches. So this was one of the most pressing issues in Portugal. For Armenia, it was the pollution of Lake Sevan, and for Italy, it was, amongst others, the pollution in the rivers.
So these are our toolkits, are available in the OTTERS website, and there are 3 distinctive toolkits. We have also inside some tips for co-creation. We have some stuff related to European Commission policies. We have info about citizen science. We have some projects, citizen science projects as an example, and some questions that can be used for the ones that want to organize some co-creation sessions. Our co-creation sessions were face-to-face, were held face-to-face, but also through a survey. We reached 313 stakeholders, and among the respondents, there were teachers, researchers, NGOs, pensioners, students, so quite a broad range of stakeholders. And here we have the Slido. It would be great if you could either scan the QR code or join on the browser on slido.com and enter the code. And if we can go now, and we will see the results live. The results are anonymous, so I don't know who is voting what, but it would be nice to see the results. What are the biggest water-related challenges in your area? And there are 5 options, and these options are, I will discuss with you in a couple of seconds. I will let you vote now. So we have 7 people. We have 8 people that voted. Pollution is so far the winner, unfortunately. Okay, 11. 12. I can see the number there in the top right corner. Okay, I think we can move on if there are no other votes. So pollution is the biggest one, the biggest water-related challenge, followed by water scarcity and nature conservation, followed by drought, and nobody said eutrophication. And this is a very interesting result now. Okay, there are still a couple of more votes, but still pollution is the first one. And why I'm saying it is interesting, because exactly the same result was the same outcome from our co-creation sessions. And this is really, really interesting to see the exact same thing from a different audience. Oh, no, it's not this one. It's not, okay.
Another place, because it was a different link. So
I will take you now through the...
Here.
Yes, thank you. I will take you now through the results, and you will see. So these are the results of our co-creation session. A challenge and an issue. So it was followed by water scarcity, exactly what you all answered, and afterwards we have all the others. So in fact, I included in Slido the top 5 biggest water-related challenges. And without knowing the results and without seeing the results, you have chosen the exact same thing. So pollution and water scarcity. And these are some demographics. So in terms of gender, you have more women than men. And we had also researchers and teachers as the highest number of respondents in terms of stakeholders. And this is the one that is the most voted, and then what do you think are the biggest needs to increase the impact of citizen science? It is again awareness. Yes, I'm talking in a microphone. So again, the results in terms of how could future citizen science projects help solve water-related challenges, we have awareness. And what do you think are the biggest needs? It is again awareness. So it's clearly a need to raise awareness on the water-related challenges. Is this enough? Is this image enough to raise awareness? No, because it is just an image with a lot of rubbish, and our OTTERS mascot is there on the top right corner, sad, closing the eyes and the ears. So it's not happy. So what we did to raise awareness, because our highest responders came from the group of researchers and teachers, and the biggest issues were pollution and water. We said, okay, there is a need, so let's create some postcards, which you can find outside in the lobby on the table, for the researchers and for the teachers, for pollution and for water. So and these are some screenshots, and again, you can find them in the lobby. These are the ones for the teachers. Um, and then what are the next steps? So what you can do is organize some co-creation sessions based on our 3 toolkits, or you can use the results. You can use our postcards freely to raise awareness, educate people, and involve them into citizen science. And in terms of what strategies, what you could actually do, you could conduct workshops, you could organize some cleanups, you could create a noise in local radio, in social media, create some posters, involve the residents, collaborate with teachers, with leaders, with municipal leaders, and focus on actual steps like reducing litter or save water. Or through citizen science. But I will not tell you a lot about citizen science, because my colleague Carolina will, she's the expert, she will tell you more. What I understand about citizen science, I might be wrong or not, I don't know, Carolina will tell us. It's, we have to collect data, we have to analyze it, and we have to report it together in collaboration with professional scientists. So now it is your turn, we need your help to change people's hearts and minds in terms of water stewardship. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Now we welcome to the floor, as Laura already said, so there's no suspense here, Carolina Doran. She works for the European Citizen Science Association based in Berlin. And she will tell us about some of the principles of citizen science and how it could bring benefits to some of the issues which were already showcased.
Thank you. I guess I start here whilst the presentation is being loaded. I would like to start by saying that I actually feel really humbled to be able to be sharing the stage with all the students and teachers that were here yesterday, sharing their really inspiring stories on how they are working with their local communities and also across the continent to learn about our natural world and how to preserve it and find innovative ways to do that. As Laura said, we've been hearing a lot about OTTERS and other citizen science projects. So today I want to take a little step back and talk more generally about citizen science and what we do at EXA, the organization where I work. But before, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about myself and how I got here. So I'm actually a behavioral ecologist by training, and I study many different animals. And a few examples here, I study how ant colonies make decisions as a group, so how they manage to stay together. And I also study a very interesting type of fish. These are sulfur mollies that live on the surface of the water because the water has very low oxygen because of the sulfur. And so they work together to confuse bird predators so that they don't get eaten. So one can say I've always been really interested in how groups can achieve things together, except that now I focus more on human groups. And I work in an amazing team at the European Citizen Science Association. I want to mention Franzi and Leonardo, who were also part of the OTTERS project, but unfortunately could not be here today. And we work at EXA. And EXA, some of you would have already heard this if you were at the summer school or at the workshop a few days ago, but we are a nonprofit organization. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary last year, and we are hosted in Berlin at the Museum for Natural History, or Museum für Naturkunde. And we want to be more socially robust, inclusive, and democratic. Our science to be more socially robust, inclusive, and democratic. We are a membership organization, and we have members from all over the world, and also from different sectors of society: citizens, politicians, policymakers, teachers, etc., etc. What we want to achieve is a world where people are empowered to make a positive change through science, so through evidence. And we make science and research towards that. We try to make science and research open, accessible, and really important, valuable for everyone. But what is citizen science? We've been talking about it, you know, we had some exercises on it in the workshops, but let's maybe take a little time to discuss what is citizen science. Some of you would have already seen this. I collected some, let's say, random definitions, and let's see, the National Geographic will say that citizen science is the practice of public participation and collaboration in scientific research to increase scientific knowledge. Through citizen science, people share and contribute to data monitoring and collection programs. If you go to Wikipedia, you will find that citizen science is research conducted with participation from the general public or amateur non-professional researchers or participants for science, social science, and many other disciplines. On the EXA website, you will find that citizen science is any activity that involves the public in scientific research and thus has the potential to bring together science policymakers and society as a whole in an impactful way. And finally, NASA citizen science projects are collaborations between scientists and interested members of the public. So I'd like to ask you to take a few seconds to look at these definitions and reflect a little bit which one you think makes more sense to you, taking into account what you've learned here or before about citizen science. And then I'd like to ask you to look at the person closest to you and see if you agree that, if you match in the definition that you chose, if you all chose the same. Really quickly, because he's counting my time. I don't have a lot of time. Okay, so now again, just very quickly, a show of hands, who had different definitions, who had chosen different definitions. Everyone else chose the same, or you're being shy? Yeah, it's complicated. It's morning. I understand. In fact, there's a book called The Science of Citizen Science, and there's an entire chapter devoted to defining citizen science. And there you will find actually 34 different definitions of what is citizen science. But also something very important is written there, which is, in short, fitness for purpose is an important aspect when choosing a definition to be used in a given context. So depending what is the research question, where you're doing it, how you feel that day, how's the weather, it doesn't matter. It's important that for the context in which we are working, we define what it is and what we mean by it. And in fact, you can find the book freely available online. You can buy a hard copy if you want, but you can download it online. If you don't manage to get it on time, you can also get my slides. But in fact, the art of engaging communities in science has been existing for a long time. So around the year 800, citizens of Kyoto were already supporting in the collection. They were measuring how long it would take from the beginning of the year for cherry blossoms to flower. And it was only 1,000 years later that the term citizen science appeared in a scientific publication. And this was a conservation study where people were collecting rainwater to measure, to create awareness about acidity. It has taken through time many different forms, and it has appeared in different ways. So for instance, a famous ornithologist in the year 1900, he decided that instead of doing the usual bird hunt over Christmas, that he would do a bird count instead. You can still join this bird count if you want. It happens every year around Christmas. And the data informs biodiversity monitoring efforts, actually. There's another example, which is also very cool, which is in the 1950s. A group of volunteers took part on Operation Moonwatch, and they helped collect manual tracking data from a satellite to support the automatic ones being developed at the time. And taking us now till today, where we are talking about the quality of our waters and how to preserve the life that lives in it. And we have so many amazing citizen science projects focused on this. And this is both a very beautiful and very sad photo. what we can agree in, and this kind of power, if I'm not sure you can see very well, but in this axis, we have data from the year 800 until 2020, again, of how long it takes the cherry blossoms to flower. This kind of power we don't get with traditional science. This is where citizen science can really bring a lot of knowledge to the different problems we're looking into. And of course, we can do citizen science in a variety of topics: ecology, astronomy, medicine, etc. I challenge you to come to me in the coffee break with a topic under which we cannot do citizen science. And to incorporate this breadth of diversity, it's really important that we stop focusing on the definition, on the what, but on the how. And it was with that in mind that EXA, together with different citizen science practitioners, we co-created the 10 principles of citizen science. I'm not going to go into detail on them. You can find them online also in many different languages, including Armenian, which is the latest language, thanks to the OTTERS project and our Armenian partners. And they focus on things like how to properly include participants, give them access to be part of data analysis, give them information on what happened with the data they collected, ethical concerns. So there are several things. There might still things be missing, and we can even discuss the idea of creating 2 more principles if needed. They are quite old already. But alongside that, we also co-created the characteristics of citizen science that helps us look more in depth into where the boundaries are. So there are some cases where you can say, okay, this is not citizen science. And so let's look at a few examples, for instance. Yanis is a bus driver in Greece, and he suffers from arthritis, a chronic condition, and was offered to participate voluntarily in a study about a new physiotherapy technique to manage his condition. He's asked to use an app to report on his symptoms several times a day. The study is run by medical researchers at his local hospital, and the results will be published in an open access journal article. Can I get a show of hands who thinks this would be considered citizen science? Or if you think this is citizen science? Don't be shy. Go on. So in fact, this is not citizen science because the people doing the research are the medical doctors. So in this case, Yanis is part of either a clinical trial or this is crowdsourcing of data. He's not really involved in the whole process. And this is still very valuable, but it's just not citizen science. Let's see another example, for instance. We have Sandra from Birmingham, England. She recently had her first child. And on a forum that is dedicated to issues of using detergents with cloth nappies, she found a group of other young parents on Facebook, and together they are carrying out a double-blind test of different detergents and their impact on nappies. The results of the study are shared widely through a medical charity and can influence the National Health Service recommendations for using these nappies. Who thinks this is citizen science? Yes, indeed, this is citizen science. So Sandra's not a researcher, and it's fine. Her own initiative, she created this project and collected data. Okay, I will start a bit faster. I had a few other examples, but let's move on. You can download the characteristics of citizen science also if you want. And they will have many examples that will also help you teach it if you want to teach about citizen science. So this is what we do. We advocate for citizen science to these resources and many more. Actually, the resource hub and all the things that Laura mentioned is also available on our platform, which I will mention in a minute. We have different working groups that anyone can be part that focus on different aspects of citizen science. Each working group has their own governance model and their own set of actions and aims. We have the Aquatic Ecosystems Working Group, thanks to the OTTERS project, and there are new working groups being born every year. So there's biodiversity monitoring and citizen science in areas affected by armed conflict, which are not here, that were newly formed. So we have new things to expect. We have our conference every 2 years, which is where the community meets. The next one is happening in Finland. And if you want to suggest a topic to be discussed there, you can suggest this now. The calls are open. And then, as I said, we have our community, which is our platform, which is where the community meets digitally. There you will find many projects and resources and the space for you to put your projects. There are so many amazing projects there. I would really encourage you to put it there so that everyone can learn from your work. And of course, we work on many different projects. And we have heard a lot about the OTTERS project, and I'd like to spend the rest of my minutes to talk to you a little bit about the ECS project, which we coordinate at EXA, the European Citizen Science Project. And there, it's EXA's main vessel because we contribute to the mission that I first stated of EXA, which is that of widening and strengthening the European citizen science community through capacity building, awareness raising, co-creation activities, and so on. And again, with a vision of a globally connected, inclusive, and strong citizen science community in Europe. But what do we do? Many, many things. I'm just going to put a few of the most recent examples here. For instance, at the moment, we are looking for industries who want to get paired with the citizen science practitioner to develop a business plan together. So we will support with this so that we can bridge these two worlds, the science and the industry, to work together and find sustainable ways to use our ecosystem services. There's also the Citizen Science Global Partnership, which we are trying to support. This has citizen science organizations from all over the world, which are trying to find common ground on how to advocate for citizen science. And we also have a network of citizen science ambassadors that we ran. It's a very important network that we ran to the project. This way we could support community champions in different countries to strengthen their own communities. We learned a lot from how to run such a thing. And from EXA, once the project ends, we will start a new ambassador program where we will try and take the learnings we took from this project and continue this important work where we can support different smaller or bigger citizen science platforms to do their work. We also have a lot of space for learning. So we developed a few courses on data analysis or data visualization for beginners that uses citizen science collected data. And we're also supporting a new project called the REX concept, which is developing a concept for a research infrastructure for citizen science in Europe. We are developing DCS Academy, which is a place with many courses on citizen science. You will find there everything is free. You will find there courses on different languages and on different topics. And when you find a topic that is missing, you have found a great opportunity for us to work together because we will also host courses that you develop in your project and so on. We also find new ways to measure impact on different areas. So we have a work package or a lot of work devoted into measuring impact citizen science has on research, society, and economy. And we actually have created a booklet with impact stories that are really, really inspiring. And I would encourage you to go and read it. And there's much, much more, but I'd like to finish with a few ideas of how you can join and that we can all be more connected. You can reach out to your ECS ambassador of your country. As I said, even if the project is ending in a year or so, we will continue this program in one way or another. You can engage with the European Citizen Science Platform by uploading your project there. You can join a working group or become an EXA member and create your own. So if you find there's a really important topic that we don't have a working group for, so please reach out and we can start something together. The code for our platform is open source, so you can use it to create your own platform. Doesn't matter if it's for a city, a council, a country, you can still use it. And I know the wonderful Christina Louise will tell you a little bit more about the citizen science platform, which was built also based on this code. And yeah, I invite you, let's work together. Let's find ways of working together. I already have a project with one of the teachers here. We will make sure the local waters are cleaner and that the water plant system is held responsible for how they treat our waters. More on that soon. And yeah, thank you. I look forward to answering your questions and working together to making our planet a better one.
Thank you very much, Carolina, for that very diverse and interesting talk. If you have questions, please don't forget them. Maybe note them down. We'll have a Q&A session after all the speakers of our morning session. Now we'll invite to the floor Christina Louise. She's already here. Christina brings more than a decade experience in citizen science projects, and she's going to talk to us this morning about the network of citizen science in Portugal.
I'm going to stay here because I'm too short, and what can happen is just see my head moving. So, okay. Okay, so thank you very much for the invitation to be here. It was really nice to have Carolina before because she already did and explained everything that I usually explain, which is citizen science, how challenging it is to define so many definitions. So you stepped away, it's check. So I'm fortunate that I didn't bring those slides and all that information, and it was very brilliantly done before. So now, and we had an overview of citizen science in Europe by EXA and the amazing ECS project. And the idea here was to talk a little bit about the how is the environment uh, of citizen science in Portugal, and also a little bit about our Portuguese citizen science network. So just to tell you, and I'm going to make the story short because it's already a long story, but it started, yeah, more than 1 decade ago. We had a representative in the beginning of EXA, actually. So we had a person called Patricia Tiago, and she was involved and engaged in what came to become the European Citizen Science Association. And she was also involved in the creation of the 10 principles, and that's why since the beginning we have a translation for Portuguese. And then actually this was kind of a citizen science project. It has been a volunteer work in trying to engage and create a community of citizen science. So a lot of us became interested in this subject. I started being involved and engaged in citizen science around, since the beginning 2010, but more involved in 2014 when EXA was created. And at that time, we had a funding to organize European Citizen Science, the European Researchers Night in Portugal. And it was a project dedicated to citizen science. And so it was a very, very good opportunity to make the first survey to which projects exist in Portugal. So we have this timeline. I don't have slides here. It's not necessary because at the time, 2014, there were around 20 projects that we could identify as citizen science projects, including actually one from Nucleo. And so it was not a big number, but already a community was becoming interested on this subject in Portugal. So uh, the the ministry in Portugal promoted Secretary of State at the time in 2017, and along with the policies of open access, she started to promote citizen science, and there was the organization of the first meeting in 2017, the first Portuguese citizen science meeting that was organized by that time, with a few examples of projects. And a lot of us, of course, started to look that resources were being used. So there were, although there was not a big community, some of the projects that were showing up were being replicated. So there was not an alignment of resources. So some projects were being done they could use the same resource, but they were replicating applications and resources. So we decided to start creating a community, and we organized the meeting in 2019, which was a big success. A lot of people came, a lot of problems with the definition of citizen science. There were many projects that were not citizen science, but we decided to include everybody in the discussion. And so the community started raising. We organized a meeting during the pandemic in 2021, one in 2023. So this community has been increasing since then. So the number of people now involved is very big. And in 2022, we did a mapping of citizen science projects in Portugal. So you can see here that this was done through a survey, and there were more than 1,100, projects analyzed that could be identified as citizen science. So from 2014 to 2022, the number increased. And what we see here also is that a lot of the projects are mostly in the areas of biodiversity, environment, and so a little bit aligned. And as Carolina was saying, several areas where you can identify citizen science projects, but most of them are closely related to the natural sciences. Okay, very incredibly, there aren't that many projects in Portugal related to astronomy, which is a case that happens in many other countries. But so there are a lot of projects already running, and it's in some of them it's quite hard to identify if they are citizen science or not, because the term citizen science is not used in many of the projects that exist, because the other definitions are used, and so it's difficult to do this mapping. So this number, or this number of projects might be much bigger than we think. Okay. But just to have an idea, so the number of projects have been increasing, the community has been increasing, projects in several areas here, from sea-related things and water-related, like Shella Vista, which is actually a wonderful project, biodiversity for all, and there are some in the humanities, like memory for all. So different kinds of projects that exist. And so this grew, and this community grew through the meetings. And at a point, we decided, okay, it's time to formalize this, because it was just a group of people working together. So we decided to formalize the association. And now, as Carolina mentioned, in 2023, we created the Portuguese Citizen Science Network. It's now formalized, and we are trying to do our best to increase the community and to organize ourselves. So we have a website where all the projects that exist can themselves put, it's based, actually it was made in close collaboration with ECS, with EXA. So we are using the same platform as EXA in order to include the projects. There are some projects, some problems with the platform, but all the interested projects can include their project, identify their projects in this platform. So if you have any projects that you want to show up in the platform, please do. Also, we share resources. So whoever has resources that want to upload in the platform, they can upload it. And I'm just presiding. I don't like to use this term, but okay, I'm head of the Portuguese Citizen Science Network, just because. But we are a big group of people that are here, that are part of the board of the Portuguese Citizen Science Network. But we want to. We always felt ourselves as a big community. Since the beginning, we are more than 400 people working together, and this was just something that was needed to formalize the platform. Also, we have working groups. So 4 of the people that are there are head of working groups. So you can also create working groups if you want to. So these are the ones that are already working in education, societal engagement and inclusivity, involvement of communities, and international networks and projects, which is quite important in terms of what we want to do. I also call the attention for, we will have the 5th Portuguese Citizen Science meeting in November here in OTTERS. So we are in the same in the place where it will happen. It was very nice to that it's going to be here. So 2 years ago it was in Coimbra. This year it's going to be here in OTTERS. So I invite everybody to. It's open, the calls now until June. So please go ahead if you want to participate in. It's usually very nice and friendly meeting. So please be invited to be there. Also, we are trying to promote some training in Portugal in some areas, open science, citizen science, good practices, what is citizen science, which is needed, and communication also in citizen science. And just to finish, another thing that we want to promote with this network in Portugal is collaboration with other networks worldwide. So we have privileged collaboration with Ibercivis in Spain, which has been since the beginning, we decided to create the Portuguese Citizen Science Network. Has been very, very helpful in every aspects. Also with EXA, of course, we have been in the board, or have some representative in the board since, not in the board, but in the working groups since the beginning. Also the Iberian participatory research network, which is called RECAP. And also with ECS, we have collaborations and want to keep collaborating with ECS. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christina. Next, we invite to the floor Ms. Maria Joao Pereira from the Director General of Maritime Policy and the coordinator of the Blue Schools Network. Applause, please. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Today I'm here to introduce you the Blue School program. But to talk about Blue School is to talk about ocean literacy. So what is ocean literacy? Ocean literacy is an understanding of the ocean's influence on us and our influence on the ocean. But ocean literacy is also about acting, making decisions, and communicating. It means understanding that we all have individual and collective responsibilities toward the ocean, and encouraging all citizens to have a more informed and responsible behavior towards the ocean and its resources. The Blue School was created in Portugal 7 years ago to promote ocean literacy in Portuguese schools. The Blue School program recognizes and guides Portuguese schools working on ocean literacy projects, creates synergies, and promotes collaboration between schools and the maritime sector. We encourage schools to address different ocean-related issues and involve their communities. Aligned with the 7 principles of ocean literacy and following guidelines from the Portuguese National Ocean Strategy, the National Strategy for Citizenship Education, and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the Blue Schools promotes a broad and holistic vision aiming to transform knowledge into action and effective attitude changes. The Blue School is an educational program implemented and coordinated by the Director General for Maritime Policy with the mission of promoting ocean literacy in Portuguese schools from preschool to secondary education. The program helps improve ocean literacy levels in schools, promotes critical thinking, and fosters responsible and active generations that contribute to the preservation and protection of the ocean. The Blue School offers an engaging experience in a cross-disciplinary and collaborative approach learning and in the learning environment. Students, teachers, and partners recognize the flexibility of our program, which promotes critical thinking and the involvement of all stakeholders. They also value access to privileged activities and resources related to the ocean literacy. In Portugal, for a school to be certified as a Blue School, there are some mandatory requirements. A Blue School must explore an ocean issue, encourage students to take action, explore in different subjects, involves the local community, engage students to different ages, interacts with partners network, selects Blue School ambassadors, and communicates its project. The Blue School plays a key role in shaping citizens who are aware and committed to ocean preservation. Through the implementation of the different projects, our Blue Schools works on crucial topics like ocean sustainability, marine pollution, marine environment, marine resources, conservation, marine heritage, nautical sports, and climate change. These are the main topics. So, regarding Blue School numbers for the current school year, I would like to highlight the 493 certified Blue Schools that involving uh, more than 100 students, a strong network of 127 partners, and we have more than 400 educational activities available on our platform to support our schools. These maps show the distribution of our Blue Schools across Portugal. And globally, I'd also like to highlight Portuguese speaking schools from the community of Portuguese language countries that have become Blue Schools, namely Angola, Moçambique, São Tomé e Timor-Leste. And these schools help us bring the Portuguese school program and ocean literacy themes to other parts of the world. Our partners network is made up of entities that contribute for Blue Schools projects and initiatives with educational actions about ocean. It includes entities related to the sea sector, education, universities, companies, NGOs, museums, aquariums, and when that entities joining this national ocean literacy community, partners are encouraged to take a more active role with schools, gaining greater visibility and impact. Portugal was the first country to implement a certification program for schools working on ocean-related topics, and our experience inspiring the creation of international networks such as the EU for European Blue Schools, the All Atlantic Blue Schools, and more recently, the Global Blue Schools Network. In this mission to protect and preserve the ocean, we remain committed in building international partnerships, and it is with great honor that we receive the endorsement of the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. In Portugal, the Director General for Maritime Policy is also responsible for the National Ocean Strategy. This is a strategic document that sets the course for public ocean policy in Portugal. The National Ocean Strategy 2021-2030 highlights ocean literacy as a crucial for promoting a sustainable relationship with the sea. Some key points of the Portuguese national strategy focus on the importance of integrating ocean literacy into school curricula and promoting continuous teacher training. The relevance of involve the community and increase knowledge about the ocean's relevance, and the collaboration between schools, universities, and other entities to create a support network and educational resources focused on the ocean. In this context, the Blue School program helps to create an educational community that brings schools closer to the sea and promotes cooperation between sectors linked to the ocean, education, and culture. At the international level, UNESCO recently presented the policy brief promoting ocean literacy. This document also emphasized the importance of integrate ocean literacy into education system as a strategic response to global challenges, such as climate change, biodiversity loss, and sustainability. UNESCO proposed a strategy that includes integrate ocean science across subjects and assessment methods, teacher training to effectively teach ocean content, quality educational resources that reflect local contexts and indigenous knowledge, and multi-stakeholder engagement, involve policymakers, scientists, schools, and communities. Another relevant document adopted in 2024 is the Venice Declaration. The declaration advocates for the inclusion of ocean culture as a central pillar of sustainability strategies and issues a global call to regenerate the ocean through education, civic participation, and inclusive governance. In the last years, important steps are being taken to recognize the relevance of ocean literacy, as reflected in the message, including the final political declaration of the Third United Nations Ocean Conference 2025, which takes place next June in Nice. So I highlight empowered children and youth with the relevant knowledge and skills through promoting and supporting quality education and lifelong learning for ocean literacy. This is our mission. To conclude, I would like to highlight the power of working together. We must move forward together to build a more aware, responsible, and prepared society ready to face sustainability challenges and protect the ocean. In the end, we will protect only what we love, and we will love only what we understand. So let's understand and learn more about the ocean and its relevance for the life on Earth. Thank you very much for the invitation and to all of you to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Um, we have, I think, about 10, 15 minutes to take questions from the audience. So if anyone has a question, please raise your hand and we'll get you the microphone. Maybe I can start with a question until um, the shyness from the audience disappears. Is there a question online? No. Okay. Um, so I'll start with the last talk with Maria. You explained why some of these there was motivation, but I wanted to I want to understand the driver that got the Director General of Maritime Policy to say this is something we need. Um, because in our minds, and yesterday we discussed this as well, how do we influence policy? How do we get the politicians interested in citizen science? It's very straightforward. We understand, but unfortunately, we don't always see the motivation or the willingness to support such activities. And from your presentation, we see only in 7 years, you showed some incredible numbers, 110,000 students, 3,000 teachers. So we know if there's the support, the network will grow very quickly. But I want to understand, what were they thinking 7 years ago, if you can tell us that. Yeah, how did they get to say this is very important for us and we want to pursue it?
Oh, it's a very difficult question. 1 million question, I said. I think it's our history about the and proximity with the ocean. We are a country with a cultural relation with the ocean. We are discovered the world. So to protect the ocean and explore the many opportunities that the ocean bring to us, it's crucial. So this document, the Ocean National Strategy, reflects that issue. So when this document recognizes the importance of prepare the children and aware them to the importance of the ocean, it's a commitment, right? So I think it's a way of life in Portugal. It's an inevitability, I think. I don't know if I answer your question.
Yeah, we just need to figure out how to export that mentality to the rest of the world. I see there's a question there. Maybe you can first introduce yourself and then ask your question.
Sandra Silva from Companhia das Lusírias. My question, I know that the presentations are short and there is no time for everything, but I would like to know, in the case of specific projects like this last one, and if the Citizen Science Portuguese Associations knows that um, my usually we notice that in Portugal there is a lot of or some of efforts in relation to the ocean, like we are talking about, and so on. But at the same time, we see at the schools and in the community uh, some retrocess in relation to our behavior through the ocean. For example, some schools 10 years ago, we stopped to see rubbish in the parks, and now we start to see that again. And when you go to the schools, we go there and there is a lot of plastics in the school. And my question is, what kind of evaluation we do about the schools that are in these projects, the difference between these schools and the other schools in relation to the behavior of the students, if there is any evaluation about what that change, that presence in these kind of projects change their behavior, because it's in the last instance what we want is to have a better community with better decisions in relation to the ocean, to the nature, and so on. Thank you.
Okay, very nice question. And the answer is, as far as I know, there is no evaluation about it. It should be done. Should be done. It's always very difficult to implement an impact assessment for a long time. So, and as far as I know, there are no studies about behavior change related to environmental education in Portugal. It should be that there are specific cases where activities are implemented and those that implement them do an evaluation, but it's always short timing. You know, it's like the most recent impact, the not long time changes in behavior. It's hard to implement such a thing like that. It should come from, as far as I do understand, it should come from higher education system to implement this, or from a public representative to do this, because it's the only way that you can follow students, for example, in their behavior changes, because other institutions, very hard how you can access to people's information through a long time process. So as far as I know, I'm sorry, it's just inferences that you can make based on what you observe, and this is the only thing I know. But it should be done, yes. And I keep actually, when I give classes, I have one class dedicated to impact assessment, to evaluation, and I always say we should do long-term evaluation. We should, but it's very hard to do this. So yeah, sorry. I don't know.
Just to add some, this is not a direct answer because I cannot answer from the point of view of the teacher. Maria, uh, uh, m- Christina answered better from this point of view, but I think the change is in each and single one of us. So we lead by example. So if we show to the children, or if we show, okay, you should not do this, but at home we don't care, we don't separate the rubbish, we put everything, oh, leave it, it doesn't matter, the bin, it's there. So No, we should lead by example. So then if we do it at home, they will do it at school, or they will do it everywhere. They will not throw the wrapping from the chocolate on the street. They will just find a bin and throw it in the bin. And they should understand the impact. I guess that if they understand the impact, that, okay, do you like to live in a house where it's the the trash is all over the place, or the wrappings are thrown on the floor? No, I don't think you do this at home. So I think it starts from there.
Maybe I also add some. I think parents are also teachers at home, no? So I think you answered like a teacher. I also just wanted to say that this is not only in Portugal. You know, even the booklet I shared in my talk, you will see a lot of behavioral change that happen immediately afterwards. You know, there's a story about a fisherman who hates dolphins and whales because they eat his fish, and then at the end he's naming dolphins after what he learned and being involved in the process of understanding, you know, their relationships and so on. But I don't know if we go and talk to him now, if he's still doing that after the dolphin eating his fish all the time. So it's not only the measuring, but also that our actions are often not long term. They also, we do it once and it's really impactful, but then it stops there. So those things I think need to go together. To measure the long term impact, our projects also have to be a bit longer term.
We know that we contribute all day in the schools where we have the program, that these kids are aware and they bring to home the 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 need to protect the ocean. So, and to adopt other other comport behavior, sorry. It's very important to do that, but as I said, the ocean issues don't isn't in the curriculum. So the teachers works that themes because we have the blue school program at the schools. If we don't have this blue school program, that issues maybe don't be worked with these kids, and we know it's easily work with the youngest, and sometimes the secondary it's more difficult to work with them because they had other questions, the university, and they had other interests. But we know that the kids involved are very motivated and aware. But we measure the impact of the program, and we know that there are differences in their behaviors. But like Christina said, it's very difficult to measure the long life challenges.
Are there more questions? Not, maybe I can add one more point onto this in the sense that measuring impact is a very difficult question. It's easier to measure, say, increase of awareness because you can test them. But in terms of how they think or how their mentality changes, what they go and talk afterwards with their parents, how long that stays with them, uh, these are big, from an academic perspective as well, big question marks. How do you assess that? And we have a colleague here in the audience. She's doing her PhD on this specific topic as well. How do you measure impact from citizen science projects? So if anyone in the audience is also interested on this particular topic from a research perspective, we're all interested. Please reach out and we can look into possibilities how we can further this. It's also one of the objectives of the OTTERS project. But like I said, there's not a clear pathway how we can fully measure the impact. Also a working group on impact. I think everybody deserves a break. It was a very thought-provoking session. And I'll give you the opportunity to have a 30-minute break and think more about and also network together. Please be here by 11 sharp. We're going to start the second session then. Thank you very much for our speakers. I heard that's common in Portugal. Being late starting late.
Here, like 5 minutes in English.
Ahí dejamos pues. Not to stop you from networking with each other. We want that, but please, if everyone gets to their seats so we can continue the session. Thank you. Okay. So welcome back. Hopefully you feel refreshed after the coffee break. I will now introduce Patience Muchada, our colleague from Ramani. She's a researcher at Ramani in the Netherlands, an authors partner, to facilitate the second round of speakers. Patience, please.
Thank you, Garabet, and welcome back, everyone. I hope we all got a caffeine boost or something to energize ourselves for the next round of exciting speakers that we have lined up. So our first speaker will be Maria João Ligao, and she is from the Instituto de Tecnologia Comissão Biológica in Portugal, where she is the coordinator of citizen science and the active citizenship group in collaboration with the municipality of OTTERS. So I will leave the floor to
Thank you very much. May I use, maybe it's easier to see this part. Okay, good morning. Thank you very much. It's great to be here with you. And today I have to be very fast, so I'm going to give you a very brief of Programa Ciência Mais Cidadã. This is an active citizenship program in science in partnership between ITKB and the Oeiras municipality. So the mission of this program is to implement a citizen science strategy in scientific institutions and local communities in Oeiras. So what we want, as we were speaking before, is to develop scientific research studies in a close collaboration between scientists and citizens. So we also want to do co-creation process, which is not easy, but we are trying. And we want to do, because we work very close to Oeiras municipality, to do public consultation. So we want to promote an open science and inclusive science. So as I told you, we work very, very closely with the Oeiras municipality. We are ITKB and the Oeiras Valley, but then we work in collaboration with other research institutions like the ST here and others institutions in Oeiras. And also we do very close partnerships with non-profit associations like SMIAR, CAIX, and we also do partnerships with schools, senior academies, and others. And we are part of this Oeiras Science and Technology strategy in the education and society sphere. And very important is that we work very close with Science and Innovation Office of Oeiras Municipality. So what is citizen science? I'm going through this because you already know we had two beautiful presentations about that. And I'm going to give you just small examples of the citizen science projects that are ongoing and that we are implementing. So we have already 7 ongoing citizen science projects in this program. We involved already 25 scientists, more than 400 citizen scientists. There are some that are more regular than others, I have to tell you, but they are always great, and we are a very good team, I believe. And we had already more than 2,500 visitors in events that we are present with the projects. So one of that is Oeiras Experimenta. Oeiras Experimenta is in Oeiras, very close, in Quinta de Cima do Marquês de Pombal. We have there a field that the researchers really need a field there to do studies. And what they want to study is to identify alternative climate smart crops for a more fair and sustainable food production in the context of climate change. Special draw. We work with raspi, in Portuguese, xíxaro. We are going to have taste of xíxaro cookies today at the festival. I know that you cannot be there, but tomorrow morning, if you can, we also have at the Oeiras municipality stand this taste of this raspi and sorghum cake. Sorghum doesn't have gluten, which is great. So we have 3 ITKB labs involved, and we were recently funded by the European Union through the Impetus Accelerator of Citizen Science. We knew that we have again the sustaining grant. We had last year the starting grant, so we are very happy with that. And we have, and very, very important, our citizen scientists that are there all the time. We have very regular citizen scientists that are going there. They go at the weekends, they go at the week, they go to the meetings and they present the work on our meetings. So we are very, very happy with this group. And they also help us to raise awareness, which is very important in the Oeiras Experimenta. The other projects that we have, and I go very fast, they are related with microbiome. We have 2 already going on, and it's more difficult, as we were saying, to consider citizen science, but I believe that they are. So the aim of both of the projects is to study microbiome dynamics in healthy people in Portugal and the potential benefits that it can have to disease prevention and antibiotic resistance. In this case of Microbioma Comunidade Portugal, we are working with 30 families in Oeiras, 120 people, and they are also helping a lot in the awareness of the importance of microbiome for health. So they go with us to the events, they help us with the questionnaires, and they were collecting samples in their families at home with a protocol, and they help us to do the kits. So I really believe that they are involved, and we are going to have a small book about the importance, illustration book, the importance of microbiome for health, and it's going to be in co-creation with the citizen science that are working with us. The other project is a more smaller project with microbiome, is CAR. So what, again, they want to investigate this importance of everyday substance in our gut bacteria. But here is a very small project, and we are involved the community of the institute because the researchers need the samples at the moment, so they cannot frozen, so we cannot collect them at home. They have to go there and collect them there. And again, they are helping in all the awareness of the project to go to Oeiras municipality and speak about the importance of microbiome, writing things for communities. So it's really at the beginning. I hope to let you know more about the involvement of citizen science later, maybe at the middle of the year, I believe. The other one, there we are starting, is on the sea coast in Oeiras. What we want, this project is supported by Utopia Health. What the researchers want is to develop, and they are trying to develop and apply a rapid test to assess microbial contamination of waters in Oeiras coast. This is led by a lab at the ITKB Nova, is supported by European Union, more this project, Utopia Health, and it has a lot of partners, and we want to involve lifeguards and groups of young people to do this pilot in Oeiras. We have already groups of people from Oeiras municipality and from an education center that they went to the lab to test a filter, a prototype that we are trying to implement, and it worked really well. They gave really amazing suggestions that we already apply. One of these suggestions that they gave when they went there to test the kids, and now we are going to the seacoast. I think in 2 weeks we are going to collect water from the sea. 1 minute. So we are also partner of another project related with skin cancer that I don't have time to speak a lot about that. It also have things on the beach, but I want to go a little bit about citizen science projects ongoing with schools. So we have Micromundo Oeiras, a partnership with Tiny Earth, and special with Universidade do Porto, that they also have Micromundo Porto and Spain. So we want to discover new antibiotics, and we have a new thing in Oeiras that we add to the European protocol, that is to map antibiotic resistance in soil samples. So we have this part to the protocol. This is coordinated by researchers at the ITKB, and we have partnerships with the Universidade do Porto. The citizen science here are undergraduate and master students from Universidade Nova de Lisboa, And they are the mentors that then go to the schools and teach the protocols and work with students from 2 schools here in Oeiras to help the scientists. And we have very nice results. We have already a publication together with Spain, a review on this project, if then you want to read it. And we submit a paper of Micromundo Oeiras that is under revision. So then Carbon Tree is a quite old citizen science project in Oeiras. They started in 2021, I believe, with the Science Club. The idea was to study air quality with do-it-yourself, low-cost technology in schools. And then what we did, they are the first students that did the first prototype, the big one that you can see. And then what we are doing now is a very small version, new version to go to the schools where we want to map the air quality in several schools in Oeiras. And finally, fungi. This also, and the soil is another project that is implementing in schools in Oeiras. That the question here is to evaluate the impact of plastic biodegradation and soil quality and fungal community dynamics. And we are working, I think, now with 3 schools in Oeiras. And the results are also quite nice, and they are working very close with scientists, and scientists go to the schools, and schools, they come to the ITKB. There's also a paper. This is more science education paper. Before they knew that it was a citizen science project, but now we are trying because when I saw the projects, I thought that it was citizen science because they are helping scientists in the study that they are interested. So now it's a citizen science, but when they publish, I think they mention citizen science, but it's more educational thing. So finally, to acknowledge to all the citizen scientists, all the scientists, Oeiras municipality, the ITKB Nova, all the institutions that are partners, thank you so much. And sorry, it was very fast. Thank you. And you have the postcards of the projects outside if you want. And if you want to go to the festival, we have there some.
Thank you, Maria. Very informative. And we will now move on to the next speaker, who has, I think, traveled the furthest to be here, 36 hours all the way from Australia. This is Elena Denia, and she's with the University of Valencia in Spain, and also with the Center for Public Awareness of Science in Australia. And she's going to talk to us about the public and perceptions in the media about citizen science.
No problem. I think it's okay. Okay, thank you very much. So, yeah, I recently started a project very recently, like 2 months ago, for which I want to try to measure the degree of inclusion of citizen science projects. But for me, this is something very new. I'm entering now the conversation on citizen science. And now what I want to present is my previous research, which is somehow related. And it is in the field of public understanding of science, because I was trying to see if science and technology engagement makes a difference in public attitudes towards science and technology. Okay. So, yeah, to do so, I spent some time at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. In particular, I was based at the MIT Museum under the supervision of John Durant. And at that time, I became very interested in artificial intelligence and also in misinformation. And then together we designed this research. We wanted to understand if the degree of closeness with technology or familiarity with technology, in particular with AI and also deepfake technology, somehow influenced attitudes. Okay, so we did it by conducting 3 focus groups. We differentiated between these different subsets of the public. We had the general public, that was people that we recruited from downtown Boston. It was challenging, by the way,
Then we also have the interested public. These were museum visitors, MIT museum visitors. We assume that they were interested in science and technology, but at the same time, we had this installation that was called True or False, in which we have some AI exhibitions, and we also have some devices in order to interact with AI technology. It isn't just a museum in which you can display objects. It was also for interaction. For example, with this device, you could learn how to detect deep fakes. I don't know. Good. And then we have this another subset of the public, which we call the engaged public. And this was a group of people who registered to a 3-day course that we ran at MIT. And this course was designed to learn on how to do synthetic media, but also to engage in discussions about synthetic media. Okay, and we of course gave some incentives like pizza or Amazon gift cards, these kind of things. Good. So probably the more striking thing, or maybe the more interesting result for the conversation here, is that we saw that all these engaged public were much more, they hold a much more positive attitudes about AI technology and about deepfakes in particular, which are quite controversial, but also in a very nuanced way. So this group was all the time like proposing solutions for potential problems. And this was quite interesting. So I will build on this in a couple of minutes again, but let me tell you something else. Because when I was about to finish this research, I got this grant from another university, Tufts University. It was just a 1-year grant. So I didn't have money for running more focus groups or doing other activities. So I decided to reinterpret this data I had from the focus groups, and then using another theoretical setting. Since I was learning a lot about AI from different disciplines for my previous research, disciplines like science communication, but also science fiction studies, and also philosophy of technology, I found that there were some elements that I could put in a model in order to understand the AI narratives that were out there. And when I'm talking about narratives, I'm talking about something that you can find, for example, in a movie, but also in a public discourse, or maybe in the coffee break of the OTTERS Conference, I don't know. So I took all these elements from different authors and I put my theoretical model here, no, in this way. So here I have 3 coordinates, as you can see. In the center, you can see the idea of AI as a mere assistance, as a tool. Then if you go to the left, the stories start talking about or are following this Pandora's box frame, which is the idea that AI is going to be out of control and then it's going to replace us, and eventually it's going to reach this apocalyptic scenario. And then if we go to the opposite side, there is this idea of AI supporting humans and maybe I don't know, maybe making our society better and even improving individuals as cyborgs, I don't know. And eventually even reaching this dream of transcendence through AI. Okay, so then, as I said before, I reinterpreted this data of the focus groups, just paying attention to the general ideas of AI. And what I found, just paying attention to these particular elements of the model, was that for the general public, they were usually talking about the AI going out of control, and also the replacement of humans, and maybe identity loss, or, okay, sorry, this is challenging. And also they were not just focused on how AI is going to evolve by itself, but also the who is in control of AI, like fraudsters, corporations, governments, scientists, and so on. Then, if we pay attention to the interested public, you can see that their idea was quite neutral of AI. They talk about that AI could be for the good or for the bad. It depends on the person. But they also paid a lot of attention in society. Why? Because this subset of the public believe that society is not bright enough, is naive, is lazy. So this was quite interesting because for the first time, I found the deficit model, but imprinted on a subset of the public itself. Good. And then we have probably the more interested one, which is the engaged public. All these people were talking about the personal uses of AI, how AI can be used for creativity, productivity, enjoyment, but they also, as I said before, were acknowledging some kind of problems that can arise, and they proposing different solutions based on education, literacy, transparency, ethical uses, and these kind of things. So when I placed these three groups under the theoretical model, I saw that they were placed consecutively in this case. So yes, and I think I don't have more time, but that was one of my motivations for continue under researching the public attitudes. But in this case, as I saw all these features in the engaged public, I want to do this again, but in a more concrete context, which is the citizen science context. So for this new project, I would like to continue and to check in a more nuanced way what happens with attitudes when you are actually involved in science and technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elena.
Thank you.
We will have more opportunities to talk to Elena in the breaks and also during the lunch break. And just after the last talk, we will have a Q&A session. So I will now invite Sandra Paiva Silva. She's from Espaço de Visitatio e Observatório de Aves in Portugal. I butchered that, but here is Sandra. She's a biologist and she's going to share with us her work. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the invitation. So my space sits very close by to where we are now. This is an aerial image of the reserve that I manage. This is in the Tagus Tuuri Natural Reserve. And in English, the name is Tagus Tuuri Birdwatching and Conservation Area, only to be easier. I will check if there is, here you can see where we are in the middle of the Tagus estuary, so very nearby where, in relation where we are, maybe 40 minutes away from where we are now. But this area, it's not isolated. So we belong to a farm company. That is very strange, I know. Everyone asks why, when, how that happens. So Companhia das Lusírias is the biggest farm company in Portugal. And there is a very, very, very long story about sustainability and technologies and new ways to do things. So you can share. And so we are the biggest area with cork oak forest in Portugal from the same property. So a lot to know about Companhia das Lusírias. If you want to explore, do it now. I didn't have time to speak about that. So I will pass a little movie. I hope there is no sound. Great. So this is a little movie about our new exhibition. And my team here is about how we use artificial intelligence to interact and create emotions in our new interactive exhibition. And so I will pass this movie to you, understand and see some image about what we do there. So we have several interactive activities. Our goal is not only to have communication, science communication specific exhibition, but more about create connections and create correlations between us and nature, and especially with birds. So the idea is always create a momentum where the visitors can be birds in some way and see or feel like a bird when they fly, when they need to go to the estuary to eat or not, and that kind of experience. So how I use artificial intelligence to do that. So starting with, of course, a lot of different ways to do it. This is the entrance of the exhibition with the image of a flamingo with a real big size. So I need to use artificial intelligence to help me with that, to have a good image. In relation to image two, I have several old image in black and white, and artificial intelligence help me to pass that to a more close by point of view in relation to connection between the visitors and what is happening in the past. For example, here you can see in the black image we can't notice nothing, but in the color image you see that there is some smoke coming from the other side, and that means that is the beginning of the work of the cement, I don't know in English, the or ever a new industry working there. Here is a black image of the water gates, and you can see the difference. So there is a lot of winning in relation to comprehension about the past. And now I would like here to show you how we can create easily an image using AI to help people to understand that the birds eat in the same place from but don't compete between each other because they use different areas of that place. And so you can see here some of the work, several image that I need to try to reach this better idea of what I want. I also use artificial intelligence to help me to summarize big data in a small info that is very useful, and we save a lot of time. Don't do it for 30 species that exercise. Here it's about pass all that information that you can't read but you see in the left side to these two poems in very, very fast way that create more relation between the audience, visitors, and the issues about conservation and problems about what can happen with the species. And here you can see this big map is a global, you saw that in the movie, a globe where using artificial intelligence, I don't know, I'm not an expert in QGIS, but I have the chance to do it in few time. The program tell me how I should do it, and I follow the steps and I can do it easily. Here about simplify information, more communication goals, and something that I will tell you better in the afternoon about how we can use neuroscience, multiple intelligence methodology in exhibition using QR codes, previous questions, exercise activities, and then to evaluate if the activity or the message that we want to pass correctly or not, or if you can choose or improve something. And there is a case of that. So I asked the AI if I did a good work with AI. So he answered me that in my considering what my knowledge, he considered that was a good work that we do together. And to finish, next step, from observation to action. In the afternoon, I will explain how we engage communities in citizen science, what is the key message that we want to convey, how can we engage emotions as well as minds, And in our approach, our approach could be truly effective. That is very important to evaluate what we do, because if not, we can't change if there is something to improve. Thank you very much. I hope to see you in the afternoon.
Thank you very much, Sandra. I will now invite any questions from the audience for these lovely ladies and the amazing research that they're doing. I know a lot of it was very technical and but quite interesting. But anyone with a question for the audience? Yes.
Okay, I want to ask about the AI, about the second presentation. What are the goals? How do you plan to implement science, citizen science, into the project in the future?
Thank you for the question. So in my case, as I saw that there was a clear effect on the level of engagement, in my one of the goals is to research in citizen science projects how this level of engagement affects attitudes. I know that this is a very general idea, but I want to discriminate between different kind of projects, areas. Some of areas could be more, how do you say it, controversial than others, of course. And at the same time, but this is just one part of the project, because I'm interested in trying to build a tool in order to assess the level of inclusion in citizen science projects. And to do so, I'm going to include different parameters. For example, one is the level of participation in a citizen science project, but another parameter could be the language used on the website to advertise this project, if the language is inclusive or not, and these kind of things. So a very big project. I have 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. In the interest of time, I will suggest that we join Maria and Sandra in the afternoon with their workshop and the other presentations at the main, if we have really key questions pertaining to their work. And I will now invite our next presenter, which will be Bruna Gumeiro, to the stage. She's a river ecologist and she'll be adding the next panel. But may we please give another big round of applause for Maria, Elena, and Sandra.
Thank you, Patience. Thanks for that. So here is the last part of the morning. So we already have a coffee, so we are still with the caffeine, and then we can start. Okay, I may stand up. Okay, I start soon with our speaker, Tigran Kerian from Boku University, so from Austria. But you have a long story, but I'm going for the short one. Okay, so
how much time do I have?
15. Would you like that I tell 5 minutes? Okay, I will. Okay.
So, hello everyone again. Do you hear me well? Thank you very much. So I will start my presentation entitled Engaging Rural Communities in Aquatic Ecosystem Research, and I will also share experiences from Armenia. And this is a joint research conducted within a project called EcoSurf, together with my Austrian and Armenian colleagues. Yeah, and I forget to mention that the Boku University is based in Vienna, Austria. So I will not focus on these slides because I believe everyone who is here know well what are aquatic ecosystems. Very general, they like parts like freshwater ecosystems and marine ecosystems. And I know that you're also familiar with the ecosystem services, if shortly to say that they are the benefits we receive from the aquatic ecosystems, ecosystem services. And there are different also categorizations, sometimes 4, sometimes 3 categorization, but the ecosystem services are divided into 4 major parts. Sorry, can I? Yeah, they are the provisioning services, which they are the which water providers as regulating services, cultural services, and supporting services. So, but what are the challenges in aquatic ecosystem services research? Because I looked at the scholarly literature, there are a lot of published papers, people assessing, doing some very deep analysis in laboratory, etc. But the challenges are, like, first of all, why people start doing a research on aquatic ecosystems, because as we already discussed a lot, they are under pressure. There are degradation, pollution, we also discussed a lot, also climate change has an impact, biodiversity loss, of course, habitat fragmentation and habitat loss, and of course, as a result, the water quality and the water resources are declining. But what are the gaps while looking at this all research? I also, there are some gaps like most of the research is excluding local people knowledge. We talked here a lot about citizen engagement, citizen science, citizen opinion, but a lot of the assessment research are lacking this part. Also, sometimes people overlooking cultural aspects and mostly trying to monetize ecosystem services. And also there is a limited community participation. So I saw this photo yesterday also you presented. I like to, of course, use also in my presentation. This is a Oriental story where 7 blind people touched elephant and they start arguing. Like the person who is touching the body says it's a wall and the tail is a rope, and they can argue because everyone is right. But what they are missing, this complex, this system, which is an animal and elephant. And participatory approaches, even if very generalized ways, they involve local communities, different stakeholders and citizens in the research and decision-making process. And in the context of aquatic ecosystem services research, these approaches seek to include local knowledge, local values in evaluating local ecosystem services. So what participatory approaches exist? When we started our EcoServe project, we were thinking which methods would be valuable. And we don't want to create something new, but first of all, as a researchers, we need to see what exists and what are the good practices and also what are the challenges. So I start systematically looking at the literature review. So using different keywords, such as ecosystem services, but also environmental services, ecological services, nature contribution to people, and also the participatory approaches, transdisciplinarity, citizen science, whatever, just to define all the possible papers. So we identified 1,400 papers, but after systematic review, we end up with 67 papers, which are focusing on participatory approaches and aquatic ecosystem services. So as we see, the number of publications are increasing, which means participatory approaches are getting more popular. These are the countries where mostly they use and publish. Also the types of aquatic ecosystems. They are like half marine and coastal, and they have river ecosystems, but there were very few research about the lake ecosystems, urban aquatic ecosystems, and other parts. So this is our own illustration. We also try to categorize which participatory approaches exist. These are the most common methods that researchers use. I'm not discussing are they good or bad, but just presenting what researchers and people consider as a participatory approach. First of all, there are a lot of surveys, questions, questionnaires, and workshops. Of course, we can discuss if they are participatory and in which case, but they are also expert-based participatory approaches such as Q methodology, Delphi, and there are also photo voice, also citizen science is getting, as we see, popular also as a method. And we try also to, based on these papers identified, to define the level of expertise. Like, for example, for cultural ecosystem services, mostly you don't need very high, let's say, scientific knowledge or expertise, because the people who are living there, it's their place. They have the local knowledge. They are the local experts. It's their cultural value. But of course, to discuss the supporting or regulating services such as soil formation, etc., of course, you need also some level of expertise. So what participatory approaches we used? Our case study is in Armenia, in Hrazdan River Basin. Hrazdan is a major river outflow from the Sevan Lake, where also Karapet yesterday presented. And as we yesterday did some experimentation, we saw that how polluted also, unfortunately, the water. So what we did, like, first of all, I don't know how much you're familiar with Caucasus, Armenia, but it is considered one of the biodiversity hotspots in the world. And also the Armenian ecosystems, as anywhere in the world, also high anthropogenic pressure. So how we started? First of all, our case study region, we divided into 3 parts: upper level, middle, and the lower level. And this is map created by my colleague Vartan, who is also here. So we started simply by stakeholder workshops. So we went to the communities, we informed to the people, because Armenia is a very, very disciplinary oriented culture. Like, not American university, but the public universities are very strong disciplinary culture. And it is not common that usually scientists work with the local communities, because they like to go as an expert, tell what they should do, but not together, like, co-create. So we started to also explain our project, also to explain that we are not going to invest money to bring money for you, because it is also to just also check the expectations, but just explaining that we would like to bring university close to the problems. Also, students will learn from you and define which problems do we have. So you see, these are our case study regions where we went with the local participant, mayors, school teachers, farmers, NGOs. So, and then we realized that, as I said, it's a strong disciplinary oriented culture also to organize teacher trainings. And we did like open announcement, and the teachers are interested from different disciplines: biologists, geographers, historians, cultural studies, chemists. We invited to the teacher training, where we also discussed and on a place how to implement participatory approaches. What are the participatory approaches, how to also co-create and work, co-create knowledge and work with the society. After that, we organized a summer school, which has a format methodology of transdisciplinary case study. About this also Priscilla presented at the first day. So the format of transdisciplinary research, it is when the students from different disciplines are working together, facilitated by teachers, like only facilitated, not telling what you should do, etc., together with local stakeholders, focusing on real world problems, which means we are not going there to say, we know you have these problems, but rather learn from the locals which problems they have and to also co-create solutions. And one of the methods we implemented also, which I find very productive and easy to engage with local communities, this is the photo voice methods, because these workshops and the surveys sometimes also boring for locals and etc. But the photo voice, I will just shortly present. If you have any questions, I'm glad to answer later. It is when the participants share Like students go with their cameras, of course, asking a permission, etc., and asking simple questions, not what are the provisioning services of the river, but rather what do you get from the river, or do you swim there, what do you have? And then one student was also taking picture of the place, and another student also writing down some narratives. And at the end, you map, and then you present. At the end, we discuss it with locals if we identified, right? So these are our students conducting photo voice methods. Like, for example, you see the regarding provisioning services, like this lady explained that this area providing a lot of medical plants and also of wood they are getting for the forest. These are the cultural services, which are the traditional Armenian bread, lavash, baking. Also, what was interesting, like, for example, this man was saying that he caught a fish in the river. And then, but of course, you don't see the fish. But then you ask, do you have a photo, like also to prove, even not at that part? Because when the researchers go to that place, they can go once, let's say a month, and then you cannot see the fish. But if the person who is every day fishing, then he has more data also to share. And also the regulating services, which we see about them. And then at the end, we also students, this is, I just copied pasted from the students' presentations, this last slide. They did participatory also mapping about this is the provisioning services, this is the also the mineral water sources of that region. At the end, we discussed with stakeholders if we did right, etc., etc. So regarding the challenges, participatory approaches, of course, it is time and resource consuming, and also not all people are interested in participatory approaches because it needs facilitation skills. It's power imbalances. Sometimes when the local, I don't know, authorities want to have this high hierarchy. Also, they're managing diverse perspectives. Sometimes with locals, you have also internal conflicts, and you should be also a good facilitator to deal with that. Like here, our students are working in the mountain region where, for example, government decided to make a biodiversity reserve, biosphere reserve, but the locals need to also, their cattle is there, so there were some also conflicting situation that they're conflicting with mayor and so on. And of course, the limited institutional support, because not all universities are encouraging to implement participatory approaches. But there are a lot of also opportunities. Of course, it supports mutual learning, which is very important for participatory research. It's bringing also science close to the real life problem. It's a trust building. It's increasing the societal role of the university. And then we are creating new research opportunities. And for me, what is important also is that university and that also school teacher, when the students having a fun while doing a research, because for them it's really fun and they enjoy the process. So this is shortly about this. We also published a manual about this transdisciplinary case study. If someone interested, it is open access, we can share. And in the afternoon, we will have also a workshop where we will present our citizen science approach, because after this was the background basic to implement citizen science approach with local schools. I will be glad if you are there, and then we can together explore more and together co-create also the impactful citizen science approach. So thank you very much. These are my contacts. Also feel free to.
Thank you very much. So we go straight with the second one. We have only two speakers in this session. So Mark Humet, CBO, Centro de Investigação em Biodiversidade e Recursos Genéticos, Portugal. Yeah, thanks. The floor is, would you prefer, which microphone you prefer? This
Maybe? Yeah, yeah, it sounds. So thank you so much. And I'm representing a project called Biomaratona Norte, which aim to monitor coastal and marine biodiversity through citizen science. So what's a biomarathon? The idea of a biomarathon, it came up in Catalonia in 2021 which aimed to extend the original bioblitzes. So because there, the main activities they did was through diving. They had some trouble with the idea of bioblitzes because they had to be canceled because of weather or sea conditions. So they wanted a way to actually continue to do the activities and count for their project, but through a longer period of time. So they decided to do like all summer activities that if you had to cancel something, you can actually reschedule and still count for the project. On their first try, which is not here, they got 10,000 observations. And here you can actually see last year's, so reaching 90,000 observations, which it feels crazy, but I wanted to point it out to see how big actually this could be. So here in Portugal, last year we did the first replicate of a biomarathon. We only focused on the north of Portugal because we're based in Beirão, which is in the north of Portugal, and as scientists is what we were able to reach. So it only um, went from Espinho up to the Spanish border. So with this, what we did is we use a platform called Minca. Minca is a citizen science observatory, which is part of the Ocean Decade. You can use it through a mobile phone app or through the website. You have curators. We have some specialists in Barcelona that actually curate also our observations here, and our team of scientists, we also curate them. For that, you only take pictures, you upload them, and you only need to put a date and a location. If you don't know what is it, you don't need to put it. If you know the gender, you have the family, you know it's a red algae, like the best you can take. They're working on the EI feature, which will have you just upload the picture and it will give you a suggestion, kind of like the iNaturalist, but that's on the last testing phase, so it's not ready that yet. But that's why we do it. So we get into every day and we check all the observations that have been uploaded and we try to identify. If we don't know, we can tag people that we know that they will help us. So how it went. Last year, the Beer Marathon at Norte went from May 11th to September 15th. And thank you to our collaborative network. We like Clubs de Ciencia Vivas, Minha Matosinhos, or Observatorio Litoral Norte Viana do Castelo, which is here. We were able to do 11 activities and engage more than 190 participants. Last year, the main target were families and students and some teachers that saw the activities and engaged. Thank you to them. Actually, this year we've been doing some seminars, webinars, and we even did a workshop just for teachers. And this year, it's changing a bit. It's not only families and kids that are like coming to our activities. So what we did is like we gather the people, we go to a shore, which it's been like today we're going to this shore, we're going to another shore. We gathered together, we created some flyers that have some information, and then there in the left, you can see that in the other side, you have like a small guide of what is easy to find. And we go to the beach with the people that it's what we see that they love the most, and we show what they have because people really don't know all the biodiversity you have there. So we explain how the ecosystem works, how biodiversity it's distributed, what you find in the top, when you find in the low, how the tides work, which invasive species we have, which is the impact of them. And so far, last year's results, we got more than 1,000 observations and we got to identify more than 170 species. Here you can see some of the most observed species. But one thing we wanted to show is like after the first try we did, some of this information and observations were used to a publication that has been already accepted for an invasive species, which is Undaria pinnatifida. We didn't know the magnitude of these species in the north of Portugal. We were already doing a survey around the Iberian Peninsula, but during the biomarathon, we actually got to see how much is it in the north already, which was not on our ideas. So it's a way to give back to the citizens for their help because we didn't know, and this actually helped a lot on like pushing for the publication. It's been accepted and it will be out in the following weeks. It's not out yet. And also to mention something that we were talking yesterday, it's like the long term. We don't know how long. We know we will repeat it next year. So this year we have it, next year we have it, but you never know with projects. So a way to have a long term, all these observations also get uploaded to international repositories as GBIF. So everything that has been uploaded will continue to be there and people could use it for distribution and yeah, maybe to ask for new projects. So what's new? It already started this year, but we have some news, which is we upgraded to whole continental Portugal. So this year also is longer. So it started on the 3rd of May and it goes till the 15th of October because last year it was the first. So we wanted to be sure we could control the magnitude. This year it's this exact same period as people from Barcelona. So actually we can compare results. We're not in the same year. They're doing their 6th or 7th year, but we can actually create kind of like a competition and try to push there. And also they don't have tides, obviously, like in the Mediterranean. Most of our activities are through diving, I through going to the shores and exploring the intertidal. But this year we're trying to expand that, and we are studying coastal and marine. We try to go to the subtitle. So we're collaborating with diving clubs. In the north, we're collaborating with Submersos. If anyone knows a diving school here that is interesting, just let us know. So how can you collaborate, participate? Either download the app, take pictures, and upload them. You have all our contacts there. We are really active on the Instagram account. You can see videos of last year. We post there all the activities we do, pictures, like we're mostly active. Also, if you're interested in doing any activity, doing seminar, webinars, we can do online presentations. We can try to work out some workshops, show how the app is used, how to identify anything. We are open to everything. And also because our contacts are mainly on the north. So if anyone from center, south, we're more than welcome. If next year we're going to the islands, Madeira, Azores, also more than welcome. There in like left QR, we have our team's website where we upload all the activities that has been confirmed. So if any of you want to join, like any of the activities, you can find them there, or in the Biomarathon website, which originally was only for the Catalan coast, but now we have for the Portuguese coast, and it's in English and in Portuguese. And also we are uploading now all the activities there. So you can see it there, and you have a video also what you can find on the intertidal, at least in the north. And last but not least, we have all the documentation we've been using to create the accounts, how to use Minka, how to create a biomarathon. Everything is in Zenodo. Everything is in English. It's the main language, but we translated everything to Portuguese. You can actually find it, some of the documentation from Minka or the project in other languages, because the main project is called Aneris, which has 15 partnerships around Europe. So you have some documentation in French, in Italian, like just go through it and have a look. And yeah, so mainly thank you to all the people that helped and all the collaborators. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to our speakers. I realized that I was too generous with them, so I'm apologize for that. Well, some question, one or two, and then yes. Sorry.
Thank you for the presentations. I have a quick question about the publication you said about the records that were identified by citizen scientists. How did you deal with authorship? with regards to I mean, how do you acknowledge the people that actually go out and take pictures and identify these in a big publication?
Yeah, so thank you so much for the question. It's something actually we discussed a lot with our partners in Barcelona because they already did some publications using it, but it was our first time. Um, so while doing the paper, we put everything on Excels. In each Excel, we put a link that goes directly to the observation which you have the user. And some of the pictures also were used in the paper. So we contact them and we put the name of the user in the picture, like as a credit commons, I don't know, how is it called? On the picture in it. And then in the Excels, you also can look for the name of the user or the link that goes directly to that person. So you can see who did the record.
The last question from Laura. Um, do you need, yeah.
How did you engage the participants? So did you let the teachers know that an activity will take place, or how exactly did you engage them?
So actually it was through our network. So we contact clubs of Ciencia Viva, like people from local like observatories, like Observatorio Litoral do Norte de Viana do Castelo, which they already have a network of people interested in it. So they public some activities or workshops to the people to register, and then we do the activity. So last year, our way to do it, because we didn't know how to contact people, to look for the people that we thought they could be interested. Also, through the University of Porto, we have some students from IGBAS University, the IGBAS department. So we also did some activities with them, which we know they're already interested on the marine area. But for families, it was literally the collaborative network. Local, yeah, from like towns or small areas or regions. That was it. And now they're asking for it, like, are you going to repeat the activities again? So that's the idea.
Okay, I have several questions also for Tigran, but I keep them for later on. Now it's definitely time to give the floor. Oh, first of all, just a warm clap for our speakers. Thanks for that. And then I give the floor to Priscilla for closing up this very active, interesting morning. So please.
Thank you, Bruna. Thank you, everyone. I would like to start by thanking all the online participants that are here with us and tell you that for you, unfortunately, this conference is over. So an applause. For the other ones here in the afternoon, we have really nice workshops. Okay, for now, let me see if I'm not forgetting anything. No, for now, we have lunch. If you don't have a lunch ticket, you can get one from my colleague outside, Jessica. Okay, we can have lunch in the restaurant that is in the other end of the building, which is the one open specially for us. So we have to thank them for opening for us because they would be closed. And then we will visit the Science Festival. For those who know where it is, you can just go whenever you want. I suppose the others can meet. We can try to make it in 1 hour. Maybe if the restaurant, if the restaurant is quick enough, we can meet at 15 past 1. Okay, we wait a little bit if people are still having lunch. On the top of these stairs on our left, okay? Which is the ending of the building. And then we wait there and we go together. And I just want to ask you to then try to be here on time for the workshops. We will have the tutors waiting for you. We can be just a little bit late, I suppose, because everything is delayed. So we are meant to start the workshops at 2:30. Are the workshops leaders okay with postponing half an hour? Yes? Yes? We text the other ones. Half an hour? Okay, okay. We talked to Alex for this one, and there's another one missing. But yes, we will contact everyone. Yes, and then people have enough time. But please don't be more late than that for those that wander on their own, okay? We meet here again at 3 o'clock for the workshops. And let's please all stay together for a little bit for a group photo. Is that okay? Garabet, do you want to do here with something on the back or outside? Okay, so here we put something nice on the back, and everyone who wants to be part of the picture can gather here. Everyone is invited. Authors ways of change. Sim, pode ser. Tá, pode ser.